So recently I've been hearing a lot online about Zyn, which for the few of you who don't know is a nicotine pouch you insert in your mouth, and it basically gives you the same buzz you'd get from a cigarette but without having to smoke it. And the nicotine gets into your system faster because the pouch dissolves into your top gum. So I got an idea, and that was, well, basically to try it and see what it's like. And it led me down a bit of a rabbit hole, leading me to the conclusion that I really don't understand why nicotine products are so revered and loved by people. But first, let me give a rundown of my Zen experience. So, I bought a 6 milligram pack from a convenience store and tried that, and within a few short minutes, I regretted it by a lot. It was definitely something I was not so happy about trying. So at first, it gave me a giant brain rush, and I won't lie, it felt kind of good that rush. Like I thought, okay, I like this. But that lasted like 2 minutes, because after that, the brain rush was gone, and instead I felt a really bad nausea. Like, Jesus. Like, I genuinely thought I was gonna vomit. Now, luckily, I didn't, but I came to the amazing conclusion that it was a mistake, and immediately I disposed of the rest of the pack that I bought. But then I got curious. Like, there had to be a reason why nicotine is so addictive. Like, people, they go insane when they don't have it for an extended period of time. So there's definitely something about it that I'm still missing, I feel. So I decided to try something different. First, I realized maybe 6 milligram was probably too high for my first time, so I thought I'd look into maybe something lower, maybe 3 milligrams. Maybe lower, but 3 milligrams was like my go-to, basically. So I bought Nicorette, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a nicotine gum with, typically there's different variations, but the pack that I bought had 2 milligrams of nicotine per piece. So it was kind of like a safe downgrade, a nice third of what I had initially. And it was an improvement for sure. I tried 2 pieces of it initially, and I didn't get a giant headache that made me think I'd vomit. But then I got a couple other experiences that nicotine gives you. Mainly 2 annoying side effects: a tingling sensation in my tongue and minor heartburn. But overall, as to how I felt, well, I was definitely able to notice myself becoming somewhat more alert, but it wasn't that first brain rush that I had. It was more so kind of like an alertness that I would get if I drank like a cup of coffee. Maybe a little bit more upbeat. So, you know, I started to think after that, maybe my Zen choice was too high at first. Maybe 6 milligrams really was the issue. So I decided to maybe try Zen again, except this time 3 milligrams would be what I would buy. So the pouches would have 3 milligrams instead of 6. And if you're wondering, the flavor was winter green mint. So I tried it and prepared for what would come, and yeah, 6 milligrams was too much for me. The 3 milligram did not prove to give me the same nausea that the predecessor did. And similar to the original Zen, it did give me that nice brain rush, and this time it actually lasted longer, mainly because there was no nausea to overtake me. And I have to admit, it was a nice feeling, but it wasn't gigantic. And while I didn't get the nausea, I did feel a little lightheaded, which got kind of annoying. The span of a typical Zen pouch, I feel, is like roughly 10 to 30 minutes. It varies on how long it takes before it kind of feels uncomfortable. For me, once I started feeling that, burning sensation, that was the moment I decided to take it out. I do have to admit, though, I don't feel hooked on it. Like, I genuinely never felt like I needed more, and I was able to function well without it. Like, the few pouches I tried were mostly at night, and it did help me relax and focus a bit, but I think energy drinks like Red Bull can just do that better for you, or just caffeine, or, I don't know, like my ADHD meds. Like, I really don't get how people crave this stuff. Like, sure, it's nice, but also I kind of feel like it's easy to quit. I don't know. Maybe I'm just unique in this regard. So, yeah, I mean, let me know if you've ever tried this and if you agree or if you don't agree. Like, if it does something for you that it just didn't for me. But honestly, I'm kind of okay not having nicotine products now that I know what they're like. You know, like, scratch that off the bucket list. Next up, trying fentanyl.